I never imagined that one conversation could change the course of my life. For years, things were predictable. I lived in a quiet suburb of Ohio with my teenage daughter Claire and worked from home running a small design consultancy. Life wasn't fancy, but it was stable until the day that Brandon asked me something that completely shattered my expectations. Brandon was 17 when he started working for us. Technically, he was the son of our old housekeeper, Donna. When she had to move away to care for her sick mother, Brandon stepped in to help out around the house after school and on weekends. I wasn't entirely comfortable with the arrangement at first. I mean, 17 is pretty young, but Donna assured me he was responsible and eager to earn some extra money. And he was. He was polite, soft-spoken, and meticulous in his work. Claire, being just a year older than him, sometimes teased him, but he handled it all with grace. For almost a year, Brandon folded into our routines. He helped clean, occasionally mowed the lawn, and even watched Claire's dog when we traveled. He was respectful and always went above and beyond. He never asked for more than he was given. That's why, when he knocked on my office door one rainy afternoon, face pale and hands shaking slightly, I knew something was wrong. "Mrs. Carter," he said, standing stiffly by the door, "can I talk to you about something, kind of serious?" I looked up from my laptop and motioned him in, trying to keep my tone gentle. "Of course, Brandon. Sit down." He hesitated, then stepped in and took the seat across from me. For a moment, he didn't say anything. He just looked at his hands, which were clasped so tightly they were turning red. "What's going on?" I asked. "I don't know how to say this," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I need help. And I didn't know who else to ask." That sentence alone set off alarm bells in my head. I closed my laptop and gave him my full attention. "Tell me what's going on. Whatever it is, I'll do my best." He took a deep breath. "I think my dad is trying to force me to drop out of school and work full-time. He says I'm wasting time and that I need to help pay bills. He's not the kindest person when he drinks, and lately, that's been every day." I felt a chill run down my spine. I'd never met Brandon's father. Donna had never spoken much about him, and Brandon had always avoided talking about home. Now, I understood why. "I don't want to drop out," he continued, voice cracking. "I want to graduate. Maybe even go to college. But I can't do that if I'm being forced to leave school. I don't know what to do." My heart broke a little hearing his words. A kid with such a strong work ethic and kind nature shouldn't be put in this position. I could feel the emotions tightening in my chest, but I stayed calm for his sake. "Do you have any other family?" I asked gently. He shook his head. "Not anyone I can stay with. My mom's too far away, and she's taking care of my grandma, who's really sick." We sat in silence for a few moments. I was thinking, weighing my options. Then he said the thing that shocked me the most. "I was wondering," he said, eyes locking with mine for the first time since he walked in, "if I could stay here. Just until I finish school. I can keep working, do more chores, I'll even pay rent if you want. I don't want to go back home tonight." I was speechless. Not because the request was unreasonable, it wasn't, but because I never expected it. It felt heavy, and the weight of it lingered in the room. "Brandon," I said after a moment, "you don't need to pay rent. But this is a big decision. I need to think about it. And I need to talk to Claire, too." He nodded, eyes glistening. "I understand. Thank you for even listening." That night, I told Claire everything. To my surprise, she didn't hesitate. "He should stay," she said. "He's always been good to us. He's more like family than anything else." We had a guest room that hadn't been used in years. The next morning, I called Donna. She cried over the phone, apologizing profusely for what Brandon had been going through and thanking me for stepping in. She gave her blessing, and that weekend, Brandon moved in. At first, it was an adjustment. Brandon was polite to a fault. He kept trying to overcompensate, cleaning things at 2 a.m., insisting on doing laundry that wasn't his, always asking permission for everything. I had to sit him down and remind him that he was part of the household now, not an employee. Slowly, things settled. Claire and Brandon started doing homework together. He started smiling more, even laughing at dinner. There were occasional calls from his father, which he ignored. He blocked the number eventually. He started talking about college more confidently, even asking me to look over his scholarship essays. Life became warm again. Then, one evening in spring, Brandon came home with a large envelope in his hands, grinning wider than I'd ever seen. "I got in," he said, barely able to contain himself. "Full ride. Ohio State. Mechanical engineering." We celebrated that night with homemade pizza and cake. Claire cried a little. I did, too. He had come so far in just a few months. But then came the twist I didn't see coming. It was graduation day. Brandon walked across the stage, his cap slightly askew, his smile brighter than ever. Afterward, we took photos outside the auditorium. Claire was snapping pictures, and I was proudly watching him speak to a teacher when someone approached us from behind. "Mrs. Carter," the voice said. I turned around to see a woman I didn't recognize. She looked about my age, dressed simply but elegantly, her eyes warm but serious. "Yes," I answered. "I'm Rachel Keller," she said. "I'm Brandon's aunt. His mother's sister." My heart skipped. "I thought he didn't have other family." "That's not exactly true," she replied. "We were estranged. There were complications. But I've been following his progress. Donna sent me updates." I didn't know what to say. She smiled gently. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just wanted to meet the woman who gave my nephew a chance to become the person he is today. And I want to thank you, from the bottom of my heart." Brandon walked up a few seconds later, saw her, and froze. "Aunt Rachel?" She opened her arms. "You've grown up so much, sweetheart." There was a long pause. Then he stepped into her hug. Later that night, over dinner, Brandon explained. His aunt had fallen out with his mother years ago over a family dispute. But they had been slowly reconnecting, and Donna had asked Rachel to wait until he graduated before stepping in. Brandon said he was glad she came. What shocked me most, though, came a week later. Brandon asked if he could speak privately again. "I have one more thing to ask," he said. "And I promise it's not as heavy as last time." I smiled. "Okay. Let's hear it." He reached into his bag and pulled out a small box. Inside was a silver bracelet with tiny engraved initials, mine and Claire's. "I got this for you," he said. "As a thank you. For everything. For not treating me like a burden. For giving me a home." Tears welled up in my eyes. "And one more thing," he added. "You helped me when no one else would. I want to come back after college. Maybe help with the business. Maybe even start something of my own with your guidance. Would that be okay?" I was speechless again. Not because I didn't expect his success, but because I didn't expect to become such an integral part of someone else's future.